Alright guys, welcome back to another episode on Code Cleric here on YouTube. My name is John. I am going to be going over a few things today. I got a lot to go over here. Today I'm going to be continuing the series talking about using this Windows subsystem for Linux, and really at the point that we're at, we're getting into just basically Linux stuff. You could really just do this on any installation of Ubuntu. So even if you're just using regular Ubuntu and it's not Windows subsystem for Linux, everything here on this lesson is really going to apply. And in future videos, I may actually just kind of switch over to my desktop Linux. But kind of the purpose of this series was to show you, at least the first few videos, it was to show you how to install Linux onto a Windows system. That way, if you're running Windows, you can easily just kind of, maybe you want to dip your feet into Linux, and that's a good way to do it. Okay, but on this particular video, I'm continuing what we were talking about. So we were talking about scripting, and I showed you how to install ZShell and oh-my-zsh framework, and I got you set up so we can like write some scripts and easily load them into our shell environment, but we didn't actually really get into any scripting. So today I want to do a couple aliases, and I'm going to show you guys a few of my favorite really simple scripts that I find super useful and I use all the time. So without further ado, let's get into that because I do have a lot to cover here. All right, so first things first, let's open up our terminal. So we're opening up Windows Terminal here. Now I had noticed a problem. I don't know if it was after a Windows update or something, but when I was opening my Windows Terminal, even though in my settings, if I go to the JSON file here, and I look, let's see, where is it at? Starting directory. This is the correct directory to go to the home folder. So where we want to go is home, but it is not working. You know, it's actually starting up in root, which is not what we want. So I actually found a solution for that. It's actually really simple. So go back over here to the settings file, and instead of having this //WSL $/Ubuntu, we just get rid of all of that. Okay, and it's just going to be home or /home/ your username, and it should work. Okay, so I tried this on my other profile on my Windows machine here, and it did work. So let's fingers crossed here that it hopefully works here. So yeah, there we go. Now we're starting in home. It works. So all you have to do is just change that over to just home, which is admittedly a lot simpler. So maybe they changed that, which is great. But if you didn't know that, then it's pretty confusing, right? So, but that's a simple solution right there for you to start the video off. And okay, so what I want to do is I want to go over to the folder where we have all of our customizations. So remember in this case for us, that is config/zshell /oh-my-zsh /custom. Okay, and we're going to do nano aliases. All right, and I think I added this one here since the last video, and this is basically just an alias that's going to say when we do zrc, we're going to open up in nano, we're going to open up z.dir /.zshrc. I think I actually did change these two, so if you watch the other videos, these are different, but they are the same. They're written differently, and this is actually probably a better way to write them by using these variables here. So we're using the z.dir variable Okay, so when I hit zdir, I'm actually just jumping over to my Z shell home, which is that .config/Z shell, and then zconf is going to be the Z shell custom where we're at now. So anytime I type zdir or zconf or zrc, know that this is where we're going. Okay. All right. So I want to just quickly go over a couple of aliases here. Don't really want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to show you some quick shortcut aliases, things that I find really useful and that I use all the time. So we know that if we type ... or we type cd ... that means we're going up one level in the directory structure. So a really nice alias is actually if we go ... and then that's going to be cd 2 levels, okay? And then the same if we do alias ... we'll do cd, we'll do 3 levels, okay? You could go as many as you want. I find this is enough for myself personally, but this is a really useful alias. Okay, so another one is these ones here. Well, so there's this command clear. If we, let's just say we have a bunch of nonsense here. Okay, so and we want to clear it, we can type this command. We can type this command here, clear. Let's do this again. Okay, we can type clear, and it just clears. Okay, so I like to write an alias for that. Okay, alias CLR equals clear. Okay, you don't have to put this in quotes there, but usually I do put things in quotes, but you don't have to in this case. Another one that I really use a lot is an alias for the list command. So if you're jumping around, you want to list, so go to .config, okay, list, and this is actually already aliased to this if we type L, but I actually like to alias it this way. So I do alias L equals ls, okay, and then I do alias L dot equals ls dash a, okay, and then I do alias L equals ls LH. So this is like long list human readable, and then alias LL dot equals ls long capital A human readable. All right. So what is this going to do? I'll show you. So let's go to .config. Let's type L. Okay, that's just a simple list. Let's go back and let's do L dot. All right, now we see all of our hidden. But if I do LL, we see all of our permissions, and then we see this right here, the size in a human readable format. It's 4K, okay? And then we can do the same if we do LL dot. Now it's going to list all, including hidden. So I find this to be pretty convenient. These are about all of the aliases I want to go over at the moment. I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can just really start to make aliases to make your life easier. Just some shortcuts. So just to get you started there. what I want to jump into now is getting into some scripting. Okay, so I have this one here, and in my mind I think of this as delete forever. So a lot of times you will pull down some kind of a directory, and like maybe a git clone, right? You git clone something from GitHub, and so it's got the it's got a .git directory inside of it. If you try to delete that, it's going to ask you, it's going to say, do you want to delete write protected directory, write directed file, or write protected file? Okay, and it's going to prompt you yes or no. And one way to get around that though is to do sudo. So you do sudo rm recursive f for force, and then it will just go ahead and it will delete that directory. But that is a really dangerous command. So the command I'm talking about again is this one. So it's rm-rf. Now this command is dangerous because if you issue this command on a directory, that directory is going to get recursively deleted instantly. And you know, this F, it stands for force, but I like to think of it like forever, right? It's a very hard delete, this command. And for that reason, you have to be really careful when you're using it, because if you accidentally did this, you know, somewhere where you really shouldn't do it, you can easily delete important files, you can delete operating system critical files, and completely ruin your operating system. So, and it just could be frustrating. I mean, maybe you delete your pictures or something like that. So I like to have a script like this, and I'm going to explain what this is. So I have this script, and I call it delete forever. But what we're going to do is we're going to script a prompt into there, which is going to prompt us yes or no, do you want to delete this? So that way, if you do want to do something like this, you do want to do a hard delete, it's just one layer of security to make sure that you want to do a hard delete. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that out. All right. So I'm going to go to zconf. Again, this is conf zshell, oh-my-zsh custom in my case. Okay, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna if you remember from the last video, I made a script directory, and in this script directory I've got in my zshell rc, there's a loop that's going to loop through these, and it's going to load them. Okay, so anything that I put in here this was just a test, right? We can actually just delete this one. Anything that we put in here though is going to get loaded. So what I like to do is I'm gonna just create one called functions.zshell, and still using nano here. My preferred method of doing editing in the command line is definitely not nano. It would definitely be Vim, and in fact I use NeoVim, but we're not there yet, not in this series. NeoVim deserves its own video of how to get it set up. There's countless videos out there explaining it. I am going to do probably a quick series on how I set my NeoVim up, but for now, just using nano. Okay, so all right, so to create this delete forever thing, let's just go ahead and start creating a function here. Now this is just like a little function that is going to be a command that we can call. Okay, and we're going to start it by having an if statement. Now, these are going to look a little weird. I know bash syntax is a little bit funny. Okay, what this means is basically this is checking our arguments, and then this is saying if it's equal to 0. So basically if we have no arguments, then we're going to return an error because we need to have arguments for this to be making any sense. Expected dir or file. Now in this case, this is a simple command. This is a simple script where we're only allowing, we're only writing this out to work for just one. You could write it out for more. It would be more complicated, but in this case, we're just going to do just one, okay? Right. So, but this is just a string, so that has nothing to do with this, but this is just kind of, if you type this out and you don't add an argument, just reminding you, hey, you need to add one argument, okay? And we're going to return one, which is an exit code, okay? So then that's going to indicate that there was an error. Now there's this command read, and this option K1 means one keystroke, okay? And what we need to do, we need to type it just like this. You say reply question. Now this could be anything we want, I believe, but what this means is, so we start typing the string and then we have a question mark here, then anything after the question is going to be our actual prompt, and then this is going to be the variable that it gets saved to, okay? Permanently delete number $1, that means your argument, okay? That's going to be that argument that we pass, which is going to be like a directory in this case. And we're going to, again, we're going to use some weird syntax here. I'm going to say reply, so this variable here that we're capturing, and then this really weird syntax here. If that, then now we've got our protected command here, our protected hard delete. We'll just go ahead and delete it. All right, and then finish, finish. All right, let's try this out. Okay, so we've got this test directory here. All right, let's say delete forever test, integers expression expected. All right, I see I made a typo here. Let's exit out of this. I'll fix this. This is actually supposed to be a $sign here. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Delete forever. Test. Permanently delete test. Yes. There we go. Test is gone. All right. So that is a very, very useful script. Okay. All right, guys, moving on. I want to go through just a couple more here. This video is already getting long. I'm not going to get through everything in this video. I'm going to break this into two. But I do want to show you this, just a couple more simple scripts before we get into FCF, because I do think this one is going to end up deserving its own video. So that I'm going to save that one for the next one. But I want to show you just this one and this one, these custom scripts that I did. They're very, very simple, but it's going to require us to install this thing, NVM, which is Node Version Manager. So you're probably going to want to install Node. I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but if you're a web developer or you do anything with JavaScript, anything web, I'm sure you're familiar with Node. I'm sure you're familiar with NPM, Node Package Manager. But actually Node Version Manager is really cool because this is a utility on Linux that allows you to keep track of your versions. Like you can have multiple versions of Node installed and you can easily switch between them. And it's just really easy to manage your global packages. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into this. Let's go ahead and install Node version manager. So right here on the GitHub page, the install and update script. I haven't actually tried this on this machine here, so fingers crossed. Right. Okay. Profile not found. Tried bash rc, zshrc, and profile. Okay, because this is actually looking for our home / zshrc, but our zshrc isn't a custom, so it's giving us some problems here. Append the following lines to the correct file yourself. So all we need to do is put these lines here in our zshrc. So let's use our handy dandy zrc alias. Let's go down to the end here. Let's see. Don't think it really matters where we put this. Put it at the end here. And in WSL here, I'm just right clicking to paste. I do Control C to copy and right click to paste. So it's not my favorite, but that's how to do it. So let's see, let's hope this works. Okay. All right, there we go. It works. So we've got our nvm command there. All right, and how do we use this? Yeah, nvm use 16. So if we wanted to use Node version 16, then we just have to install. We do nvm install 16. Okay, let's just go ahead and do that. So nvm install 16. I'm doing that because version 17 was giving me problems the other day, so I'm installing version 16. Just giving me some problems in my build chain for my front end development, so I had to downgrade to 16. But yeah, so now we just do nvm use 16. Okay, now we say node version npm version. See, there we go. Now we've got npm, we've got node, and if we check our home here, we've got this nvm folder here, and inside this folder we can actually find. So if you jump in here, just check it out really quick. Versions, node, version 16. Go to bin. Not bin. Let's see. Include node. All right. And it might be lib node modules. Yep, it's lib node modules. Okay, and this is where our global node modules are going to be installed for this version of Node. So this is actually very convenient. So what we're going to do, I want to install this one here, this clipboard CLI, and you'll see why. Actually, that's not how you install it. Let's see. Go to the npm page here. Npm install. Got to do it global. I think because I didn't have the global flag, it didn't have context. So yeah, so now it's installed. If we check here, we're in this global folder here. Yep, clipboard CLI. So now we have this clipboard thing. We can use this. And what that does is it takes input and it outputs it into the copy of the clipboard. So here's a handy dandy thing. In Linux, PWD, you probably know, stands for print working directory. Okay, now this script that I'm going to write is, I call it cpwd, and for me it stands for copy working directory. So sometimes it's really handy to copy this, but you don't want to have to do it like this, highlight. I mean, you really don't want to do that when you're in the terminal, so it's really handy just to have a script for that. So that's what we're going to do. All right. Scripts. Okay. Let's just comment this here. Copy current working directory. All right. And I don't know if people out there, if you're new to Linux, I'm not going to explain every little detail here, but this pipe command is basically going to pipe the output of this one into the next one. So this that's what this operator is. You can look more up on that, but this is called the pipe operator. And we're going to pipe the output of pwd into this, I think it's called translate. And we use the D flag, and this stands for delete. Okay, because actually when we do pwd, there's actually a new line character here. Okay, and we don't want that new line character. So we're going to escape n. All right, this \n stands for new line. All right, so basically this is just, it's kind of like a regex, but it's just basically saying, okay, we're taking this, we're going to remove the new line from it, and then we're going to pipe that output into, you guessed it, clipboard. All right. Now, fingers crossed, this should work. Now if I jump over here to my notebook, there we go. Very, very cool. So this command, I mean, I could not tell you how many times I've used this. You know, no one told me this command. I was sick and tired of copying, and I was like, there's got to be a way to script this. So this is a really fun little script that I made. Very simple. I use that npm clipboard CLI because it's never failed me. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but this way works really well for me. Like I said, it's never failed me, so I always come back to it. So, you know, whatever works, right? So this other one, we all know and love VS Code, right? So usually in Linux, and even I think in Windows, the command to open this is code. And actually, surprisingly enough, it actually works right here from your WSL terminal. So your Windows terminal, we can actually open VS Code just like this. Okay, so that is a really cool thing. But we can actually take this one step further, and so let's jump back into our scripts. Let's actually comment this one, delete forever. All right. And then what I do is I just, let's just say open VS Code with file. Okay, because sometimes you're going to be in a directory, and it'll be handy dandy to just open up VS Code in that directory. So say VS, just like this. And so we're going to use this funny bash syntax again for var in and this is going to be, this is like a list of our arguments, okay? Do code var. Now this is awesome because we could actually open up multiple files. So if we had like, you know, 3 files we wanted to open up, we could open them up this way. But a lot of times I'll just use the dot operator and I'll just open up the root directory of like a project. So, but this is going to work. And let's take a look here. So for example, this is actually a good example. I can open up this one. So I'll say, let's resource our, let's say zshell slash, well, it's actually zdir, z.dir slash .zshell rc. Okay. And let's try this out. See, now we've opened up this project right here in the root that we were just in, and that's a lot of times really convenient because you can jump around in your directories here in Linux and then just jump right into VS Code and use that as your editor. So let's actually test this out and see if this works too. So we can do code aliases, code example. Yep, so you see it actually opened up both of those files. So that was kind of the whole idea of this one, right? Of this operator here. So that it's looping through all of the arguments and then it's opening them in VS Code. So I think I'm going to stop it here. The video's getting pretty long here, but I'm going to continue this, and we're going to get into FZF, and this is a really awesome search utility, and we're going to jump into that and just continue writing really awesome scripts. I just wanted to show you what we're doing here because I think we've got some really cool scripts. Getting started writing scripts, I mean, it's so much fun, you know, once you get on a roll here and you realize how easy it is to actually write these scripts. Anytime you see something like, oh, I'm doing this too often, or there's got to be an easier way, just write a script for it, you know. And that's what I've done. I have a laundry list of scripts that I've written for various different purposes, and that's the purpose of these videos, is to just share some of those with you guys, help you out, maybe if you're getting started doing this kind of thing. Hopefully this is helpful for some people out there. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off, and I will be continuing with some really exciting stuff coming up. So stay tuned, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.